Now that Thanksgiving is over, the holiday we invented to whitewash genocide and encourage Americans to buy things, it's time to fully lean into the Christmas holiday. The holiday we appropriated from pagan cultures to encourage Americans to buy things. Wait. In this festive season, there's a couple things I like to do. First, put up very basic, easy Christmas decorations that are cheap and simple to take down once the holidays are over. And second, watch movies. But I have two categories of holiday films I like to watch: good ones and really bad ones. As we get closer to Christmas, I will rank my top maybe 5 or 10 Christmas movies in the good category, but for now I want to talk about the bad ones. In particular, the Hallmark holiday movies. You know how these Hallmark movies work, don't you? Now, these types of Christmas ridiculous rom-coms used to air almost exclusively on the Hallmark Channel, but now other streaming services have since gotten in the game. Namely, Netflix. With movies like this: A Christmas Prince, A Castle for Christmas. And this one got some big name stars. Holiday in the Wild. Rob Lowe did this movie. And Kristen Davis from Sex and the City. Wow. These films a lot of time involve a prince, but the plot is the same for almost all of them. Beautiful, single, successful woman is sad over the holidays because she's single and doesn't have a boyfriend. So she does something over Christmas like take a trip to an exotic place, enter an international holiday baking contest. Or my favorite is stuck working over the holidays because everybody else has a life, unlike her, who's so sad because she's beautiful and successful and smart, but single. Driving home the age-old message that being single is the worst possible thing a woman can ever be. So while she's entering a baking contest, or working, or going on a fun solo Christmas vacation, she, of course, meets a man. He's handsome, rugged, usually a prince. She hates him at first because she's emotionally closed off and damaged, like all single women. But over the course of an hour and 45 minutes, give or take, she finally opens her heart and falls in love with him. Now, this whole genre of films and its existence is bad enough, but this 2015 film took it to a whole new level. I'm talking about none other than 2015's The Spirit of Christmas. Woman, high-powered, single trust and estate lawyer, gets stuck working over the holidays to wrap up an estate deal on a historic, charming B&B somewhere in New England. I don't know, upstate New York, Vermont, something. This historic Airbnb, though, is haunted by a ghost who died around the time of the Civil War. But there's a twist. The ghost takes human form for 12 days every year. Because, of course, being single is so tragic that you have to have a man, even if he's no longer alive and is only able to take human form for 12 days out of the year. Like I said, next level. I read the synopsis of this trash heap of a film a few years ago, and it was so bad, I actually bought it on Prime Video and had a holiday hate watch party with my friends in Chicago when I was living in DC. As dumb as these movies are, they're big business for Hallmark, Netflix, etc. This is just a little peek of the Netflix page in the holiday section. Look at all this stuff. It's mostly this type of genre of film. And here's just a few samples from the Hulu holiday page. A Timeless Christmas. The Christmas Calendar. A Cinderella Christmas. Merry Little Christmas. Oh, look, there's even some black people. Usually these movies are pretty white. But now, we too can be used to reinforce patriarchal norms. I wonder if that's what Dr. King had in mind when he talked about all of us getting to the mountaintop together. But these films are big business. This article came out during the pandemic, The Economics of the Hugely Popular Hallmark Christmas Movies. Hallmark movies' familiar structure and predictable outcomes are a strength at this time. This was 2021. While you can't control what's going on around you, you can predict that the heroine will wind up with the hero in the end. Hallmark had 40 Christmas movies in 2021. The same as last year and the year before, but that matches an all-time high. And this is just for Hallmark, mind you. All-time high for the network, which is impressive considering COVID restrictions made production difficult between 2020 and 2021. The number of films produced each year has more than quadrupled since 2009, when Hallmark had only 9 Christmas movies. The total has risen every year since then as audiences show an insatiable appetite for these films. Since 2009, Hallmark has aired more than 300 Christmas movies, plus a handful of Hanukkah films. They are a win-win economic prospect because they're relatively cheap to produce with budgets often under $2 million. That is insanely cheap for a movie. And shot in Canada with tax credits that make them even less expensive. During the Christmas season, more than 80 million people watch at least a few minutes of a Hallmark movie. Most weeks in November, December, Hallmark ranks the #1 network among advertising-friendly demographics of women 18 to 49 and 25 to 54, key demos. So offering that consistent draw from year to year is a huge boon for advertisers. Previous estimates have found that the Hallmark Channel generates a third of its annual ad revenue just from these shit movies. That's more than $350 million. And the franchise is held up well, in spite of increased competition from other networks and streaming services. So after all these years, Hallmark is still killing it with this shit. Now, because Nielsen ratings really just count eyeballs, I don't know how many people are watching these films because they like them or if they're just hate watching them for fun, like I did with The Ghost of Christmas or The Christmas Ghost or whatever that movie was called. I've already forgotten the title. So in spite of the fact that so many women are struggling in the dating market because the men are absolute crap, there are still women in the world that have an appetite for this kind of entertainment and watch it when it rolls around, when it comes on your TV around Christmas time. I have a theory as to why that is. Because I think deep down, everybody likes a little fantasy from time to time. And I think that modern women, as we look at media with a more critical eye, we're able to disconnect from enjoying a film for 2 hours and letting us influence our actual behavior. At least I and my peers have been able to do that. Because I think you can draw at least a little line, a very thin dotted line, between romantic comedies that are dangerous versus ones that are just silly. Like the films that normalize abusive behavior, absolutely not. But the films that say, hey, maybe you can fall in love with a nice guy you meet on a random safari. Or a prince that you run into when you go to a fictional small European country that somehow always has a royal family while you're there for an international baking competition. Or even that you could fall in love with a ghost. Because it's Christmas time and it's nice to dream. I like to think of the Hallmark-style rom-com the same way that Scrooge's nephew thinks of Christmas as he describes why he celebrates it to his uncle in the book. I think of Christmas as a good, kind, charitable, forgiving time, and think of our fellow people as though they're really passengers to the grave and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And while the Hallmark rom-com has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket and probably perpetuated horrible ideas about women and love and marriage, I believe these dumbass movies have done me good and will do me good, and I say God bless them. Love watch, hate watch, it's up to you. It's the holiday season. There's about 3 genocides going on worldwide right now. Whatever gets you through the day.